Imagine this. It's October 20th, 2025. You go to check your phone, and nothing. For millions of people around the world, the internet just vanished. I'm not talking about a slow connection or one website being down. I mean a total catastrophic failure. It was like someone pulled the plug on modern life itself. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the day the internet broke. So what does happen when the internet's very foundation just cracks? You know, all those invisible systems we take for granted every single day? Well, for millions of people, this wasn't some thought experiment. It was their reality. The first sign something was up, a tidal wave of pure confusion. You've got Down Detector, the site that tracks this stuff, and it just gets slammed with over 17 million user reports. To put that in perspective, that's a 970% jump from the daily average. It was one of the biggest outages ever recorded. Yeah, something had gone terribly, terribly wrong. And this thing, it didn't discriminate. It took out a whole bunch of services you probably use every day. We're talking Snapchat, gone. Huge gaming platforms like Roblox and Fortnite, offline. Even super important stuff like the Signal messaging app and, get this, your bank. It even got weirdly specific. I mean, people's smart beds stopped working. The entire digital world we live in just locked its doors. So the big question is, how could this even happen? How could so much go wrong all at once? Well, to figure that out, we need to look under the hood. We got to understand the internet's invisible engine, this massive powerhouse that, honestly, most of us rely on every single day without even knowing it. Okay, so that engine, it's called Amazon Web Services, or AWS for short. And no, it's not just the thing that runs Amazon's shopping website. It is this massive cloud computing platform. Think of it like the digital backbone for just countless companies, governments, you name it. It's the hidden infrastructure holding up a giant chunk of the web. And to really get the scale here, just look at the cloud market. AWS isn't just a player, it is the player. It's bigger than its closest competitors, Microsoft and Google. And that is so important because when something goes wrong at AWS, it's not just one company's problem. It sends shockwaves across the entire globe. All right, so you'd think an outage this big had to be, I don't know, a massive cyber attack, right? Or maybe a solar flare. But no, the investigation eventually traced it all back to one single physical place, to ground zero. And this is it. The problem started right here, in a data center region called US East 1 in Virginia. Now, this isn't just any data center. We're talking about the oldest and the biggest one in the entire AWS network. A ton of services are based there by default, so when it started to fail, man, the impact was immediate and just devastated.
Okay, so we've got the location. Now for the cause. And this is where the story just gets wild. You've got this worldwide outage costing billions of dollars, and it wasn't some huge complex attack. Nope. It was caused by something almost invisibly small, a tiny little bug that had absolutely monumental consequences.
So to get this bug, we have to talk about something called DNS, the domain name system. The easiest way to think about it is like the internet's phone book. You type a website name into your browser, right? Well, DNS is the thing that looks up that name and finds the actual machine-readable number, the IP address, to connect you. Without it, it's like you know who you want to call, but your computer has no idea what their number is. And honestly, a Reddit user explained it perfectly. Imagine you grab your phone to call your best friend, but your entire contacts list is just gone, wiped clean. You know their name, but who memorizes phone numbers anymore, right? You just trust your phone to know. Well, that is exactly what happened inside AWS. The phone book just went blank. And here it is, the big culprit. It was a single, corrupted DNS entry. That's it. Amazon's own report said a software bug made two automated programs try to write to the same spot at the exact same time. And what happens then? Well, they basically canceled each other out and left a big fat blank in the internet's phone book. A single empty line brought everything down. And you can just watch how this one tiny error created a total catastrophe. It was a classic domino effect. So first, that corrupted DNS entry happens inside a core database service called DynamoDB. Boom! Suddenly that database is unreachable. Its phone number is gone. Then EC2, which is Amazon's virtual server service, it can't launch anything because it needs to talk to that database. And since thousands of apps and sites rely on those EC2 servers, they all went dark. Just one after another, the dominoes fell. Now, eventually, the engineers fixed the problem and services started to slowly flicker back online. But the outage left behind this this really chilling feeling. It was a massive wake-up call, revealing just how fragile our digital world really is.
You know, the original promise of the internet, the whole idea behind it, was that it would be decentralized, a network of networks. If one part went down, the rest would just route around it and keep going. But what this outage really hammered home is that the reality today, it's completely different. So much of the modern web is dangerously centralized, all leaning on just a handful of massive companies like AWS.
CNET put it really well. They said, this outage shows just how quickly our access to everything, work, entertainment, talking to our friends can just be revoked, gone. It's a huge reminder that the cloud isn't some magic mist floating in the air. It's a real physical place with actual servers and software that can fail, and sometimes they do.
So, what this all really boils down to is a pretty big question. We've built our entire modern world on this idea of an internet that was supposed to be resilient because it was spread out. But somewhere along the way, in our search for convenience and power, we basically handed the keys to the kingdom over to just a few giant companies. And that leaves us with one final and pretty uncomfortable question to think about. Has the original promise of the internet been broken?